So I wasn't going to do a video about this new character, but then I saw the video and I saw the reaction of everyone, and it was so delightful I had to make a video. So my initial thought of the character is it's absolutely incredible. It's another Fire Emblem character. It's going to piss off so many people, and just seeing people get so mad over it is far too amusing. You probably read the title of this video and thought, how the hell can this character make any sense? What it's supposed, you know, the Fighter's Pass is supposed to go out in a big bang. It's supposed to be amazing. It's supposed to be interesting. No, it's the last DLC character for a reason. There's no point in making the final DLC character amazing. I mean, when you look at it from a business perspective, you've already got all these people who own the Fighter's Pass, so it's going to make no sense to put a big character at the end when you could save that character, save that third-party support, and put it at the start of the next one where everyone's going to enjoy it and buy it up. You know, you need a big character to sell the next season pass. This one, you've already got a bunch of suckers who already bought the damn thing, so now everyone's stuck with this Fire Emblem character. I mean, sure, you could argue, oh, but that pisses everyone off, you don't want to do that, but not really, because now everyone's talking about it. It's great advertisement. I made a video a few months back about advertisement theory, or at least that's what I called it. I said Silux and Edelgard were going to be the last two, and I was kind of right when in fact Byleth's probably even worse, well, at least in terms of pissing people off, because it's another, you know, protagonist character. But I personally like the character. I think he's got a great moveset. You know, he's got the axe from Edelgard, he's got the lance from Dimitri. Personally, I would have preferred Dimitri out of all the characters and made him a complete solely based spear user. I think that would have been really interesting. I mean, there's still chances we can get spear characters from other franchises, like if they ever did add Bandana Walder D, which I don't think is happening. That's another spear user you could have, or maybe one of the I think there was a character from Trails of the Sky that could use a spear. That could be pretty interesting. I'll talk about DLC characters later on. This always happens when I write a script. I've completely gone off it. Let me get to the point of the Fighter's Pass. Yep, you've already spent the third part. Yep, I've pretty much said how I felt within 2 minutes. And you know, they knew they were going to do this. I mean, look at the entire video. When Sophis said that you think there's too many sword fighters, they exactly knew the reaction. Nintendo planned to piss people off with this character because it gets them talking. It gets them even more hyped up because they haven't had that satisfaction in a long time. I think some people haven't had a character that they really liked since E3, and then they'll probably have to wait till next E3, because I don't think we're going to see... I think we might see a trailer drop before E3 for a new character, but I don't know if we'll get it before E3. The earliest I can see it is probably late April, early May. But I don't think, if they don't want a game in May, they can just have a Smash character beforehand, and that will just keep people's interest till E3, which I could see happening. When we'll find out about the next character, my guess is March. I think there'll be a direct in March. There's too much stuff that they could have in February, maybe late February. I'm feeling March. But yeah, I find all of this incredibly amusing. Oh, how pissed off people are being about, oh, it's another Fire Emblem character. Fire Emblem's great. You should just like the character. Even if you don't like the character himself, it's more about the moveset. Like when Terry was first announced, I didn't really like the character at all. Until Sakurai did that event, or that presentation where he showed off the characters. And his enthusiasm just made me love the character. Just made me fall in love with the character, really. Terry's pretty cool. He's got great soundtrack, great moves. His moveset is really interesting with that whole go mechanic. I mean, if you don't like a character straight off the bat, you can at least appreciate that there is some love behind the character, and how they can have such an interesting moveset. And I particularly like how he's got a similar thing to Joker, where he can pull them towards himself, but it looks like instead it's the opposite way. He grabs them, goes to them, and then hits them downward, which looks interesting. It looks more like a slower version to Joker in terms of regard of his up special. I don't know if I should do a video talking about my thoughts on him mechanically, because I'm not really... I mean, I keep up to date with some of the up-to-date... Well, now I'm jumbling my words. I was going for 4 minutes and a half without doing that. But yeah, in terms of like mechanics, I can tell what's going to make the character good, like mobility and recovery. I don't know if I'm willing enough to do a whole breakdown of a character, but maybe we'll see in the future. Maybe I'll give my thoughts after I play him, when he comes out on the 29th, at least where I am. It'll probably be really late, maybe like at 1 or 2 o'clock when I'll get him, like I did with all the other characters in the UK. As for the second pass, yeah, like I said, I think the first character in the second pass, I'm almost certain is going to be a big character to make up for this, or at least I don't know if make up for it is the right word, but to appease people, to get them to buy the pass. Because if you would put Byleth in as the first character, probably no one would buy it. But putting him at the end of the first pass, people have already bought it, so they're stuck with him. And that's what I think amusing when people say, "Oh, they should have." People would have liked it better if they put him as the first or second. Yes, but would you have bought the pass? That's the question. I mean, Nintendo usually are for the fans, but I feel like in this regard it makes a lot of sense from a business perspective to not do it. And Nintendo have always been more appeasing to the Japanese audience. When you look at how the first pass set a standard, you got Joker and Hero straight off the bat, 2 JRPG characters, and then with Byleth that makes 3. So 3 out of 5, and then Terry is kind of a Japanese character, but I'm just going to say 3 out of 5 JRPG characters. And then only Banjo. It goes to show how people have these crazy speculations about Doomguy. I mean, Sora is technically a Japanese character, but like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and all those characters. In reality, you're going to be lucky to get 1 more Western character. I personally think they might do 2. I'll probably eat my words at some point, maybe, but I'm feeling they're not going to do more than 2 Western characters. You'd be very lucky to get another indie character. I think they're going to keep doing costumes for indie characters. I think the next one will probably be Steve from Minecraft, even though I say he's never going to get him. I think it's quite likely that you're going to get a sword, an enhanced sword Mii fighter costume, where it's going to be Steve. But in conclusion, I never thought there was going to be a big ending character. I mean, when people kept saying it was going to be a third-party character, I could see the trend of how it was all third-party characters. So I kind of got into that mindset, oh, it's probably going to be some sort of like really tight-knit third-party character. Later on, at least. Well, earlier I thought they probably will do a first party, but after Terry I was kind of convinced they would do another third-party character. But no, first party. The main thing that I've noticed is they chose Fire Emblem because there was absolutely no spirits for it whatsoever. So I'm kind of getting into the mindset where, I mean, it could easily be destroyed with a later DLC, but I'm assuming if a whole area of a first party area does not have spirits, it's most likely they're going to get a character at some point. I mean, that's what happened with Fire Emblem. I think that's why I'm less likely to believe that they might choose a Gen 8 Pokemon for the second pass. I think they will choose some sort of first party rep, but at the moment I'm not certain who they would choose. I'd have to think about it more. I do plan on making a Season 2 predictions video, but I need to give it more thought. At the moment, I'm definitely... The only character I'm like almost certain on is probably Travis, because it just makes too much sense. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the video at that. My thoughts... I'm going to sum it up pretty much. My thoughts were... Byleth makes a lot of sense because people have already owned the pass. That means they're pretty much stuck with him. It's great advertisement. You've got this pass coming out. You don't have to worry about spending money on getting third-party royalties. They didn't really spend too much on making new music. They could just throw in a bunch of new soundtracks from the game that's currently out. Yeah, and I think Byleth looks really interesting, and I'm kind of glad they went with Byleth actually over any of the other characters people were suggesting, because his moveset looks way more interesting than all the others that I could think of at the time. Let's see, is there anything else I want to say? But yeah, I'm just happy to see everyone's upset with it. And I know that sounds bad, but it's amusing. I mean, Sakurai put all this work into a great character and no one's liking it. And right, you kind of deserve Byleth at this point, that's how I feel, but yeah, it is what it is. And if you don't like the character, oh well, there's 6 more. I know people are saying that a lot, but it's true. There is 6 more, and I will probably warn people that if you think there's going to be a bunch of Western characters that it's going to completely change, it's going to completely deliver on anything you want, it probably won't. You're probably going to get 1 out of the entire package that you really wanted. But yeah, like I said, the first one will stay at standard. If the first one's a Western character, I believe there will be a second, maybe even a third Western character. But I think there will be at least 2 more JRPG characters. I'm talking too much about the second fight pass already. I can't help it, I can go on it forever. I think I'll probably end up doing a half-an-hour video talking about the second fighters pass, because I can just ramble on about it forever. So I'll get to my point. Yeah, Byleth makes sense because people already own the pass, people already have the character, people already technically have the character. It's great advertisement. He's the only one that kind of makes sense besides Pokemon, but Pokemon came out too late. And that's another thing if people don't really take into consideration. The reason he probably was the final character was because Sakurai couldn't get him in before the end of the year. He had to wait. He had to be given the game early to even just render probably the environment. And he had probably wait until the character was out to make him. So he probably didn't have the time to make him before Terry. I think if the game was probably out originally when it was planned to, probably in like March or April, he might have actually been swapped with Terry. Terry might have been the final character. I know some people would have preferred having Terry as the final character, but it is what it is. One final thing I'd like, I'm doing Twitch streams. I'll probably Twitch stream Byleth when he comes out. Probably be either the midday 29th, or maybe if it's like at 1 or 2 o'clock. I can't remember what time they said he's coming out. Although I believe he's coming out on the 28th in America, so yeah, I'm assuming it will probably be 1 or 2 o'clock for me. But yeah, have a wonderful day, and remember, you deserved Byleth.